All right, we'll call the regular meeting of the March 3rd District Board to order. And John, would you call the roll, please?
Adel? Here. Anderson?
Here.
Avedisian?
Yep.
Pisano?
Here.
Yule? Bush? Here. Desai?
Fine.
Here. Bella?
Here.
Drake?
Here.
Gale? Gardeau?
Here.
Gentile? Healy?
Here.
Hoffman?
Here.
Oheb? Holloway?
Here.
Johnson? LaChance? Lester?
Here.
Lewis?
Here.
Agnon?
Here.
Mandyke?
Here.
Maniscalco? Payne?
Here.
Patel? Salemi?
Here.
Stuber?
Here.
Taylor?
Here.
Torini?
Here.
Torres?
Here.
Wolf?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we have the approval of minutes from February 3rd, 2025. Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Second.
Discussion, changes, deletions, additions? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public comments relative to agenda items. Is there anyone in the public that would like to address the board on agenda items? Seeing none, hearing none, move on to number 6, independent consumer advocate comments and questions relative to agenda items. Yes, so, okay. Number 7, report from district chairman. I don't have anything to report, but if you'll notice in front of you, there's this form about headshots. We're trying to update our board, our wall. There's only one thing I would add on that, and maybe we can get a new form issued. I would add a block 5 saying I'm happy with my current headshot. So that otherwise you're not going to hear from those that are. So, but in any event, we really need to update it. You have an opportunity. If you don't like the one we have now, or if you think you would like to look a little more at your age that you presently sit with, then go ahead and ask for a new headshot. Okay, move on to report from Chief Executive Officer.
The first communion picture doesn't count anymore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just got 3 items real quick. Just a reminder on the board meeting of January 13th, board passed 60 days for MDC IT staff to remove the forwarding feature for MDC commissioner emails. So that is approaching. March 13th is the deadline. And I know I've got a list of a number of commissioners that haven't yet had a chance to reach out to the IT department. So if you haven't, please do so. Josh, I think, has sent out an email to everyone. If you don't have that, please let us know. Contact John Myrtle and we'll get you in touch with Josh. Also, just to thank Commissioner Avedisian. Every year he goes and represents the MDC at the Special Olympics up in the Eversource campus. And again, this weekend was that. And we have a nice solid gold medallion that he forgot at his house, but he assures us he'll bring it to the MDC. So thank you for attending on our behalf.
Got just one comment. Everybody there was very, very appreciative of what the MDC does, giving them the water. For the commissioners that don't know, they're the only Special Olympics in the wintertime that actually makes snow, even up in Alaska where it's hard to believe they don't have the snow, but there are some Special Olympics that can't even have their snowshoe run because they don't have any snow, and they've yet, Windsor yet did not have that. So they're very appreciative of what we give them for the water. Just want to pass it on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions for the CEO?
I'm sorry, yes, I just want to give a quick update. There's a lot to talk about, but I just want to give a quick update on the employee survey. So since the board meeting last, have focused one in having a discussion directly with myself and the consultant, but also taking the consultant's recommendations. There were 4 groups that they had identified, which were, quote, the least satisfied. And as you remember, you had 44% of the people were happy or very happy. And then some 20-something% of people that were satisfied, but were put into the unhappy category. So there were 4 groups that were made up this group amongst the MDC. But within the 4 groups, there's really like 10 groups. There's 10 little departments. So I met with 10 smaller groups, and I wanted to hear directly from them as to their concerns. And so, probably a week and a half, all of last week and the week before, meeting with these groups. I just had, a couple of meetings today. But the goal is to really understand from their perspective, their concerns. And as you remember in the presentation, the consultant mentioned and identified communication and identified work-life balance. But when you talk to the staff, they break down what does that mean, communication? And it might mean exactly what the consultant said. It might mean that it's about I don't communicate well or at all with my supervisors or my managers. I don't feel like I have that opportunity, or I don't feel like it's a positive interaction or what have you. Or it could be the departments don't feel like they're talking together. So one department's making another department's work harder, for example. And then work-life balance could be everything from, some staff had said, it'd be great if I could just, my son has got to play at 2:00 in the afternoon. All I want to do is run and go see the play. And then I'll come back and I'll make up my hour, whether it's in the morning or that night. And so what we're looking to do is develop quick wins, things that we can do right away, and we'll have to wait to finalize the survey. And so we just recently implemented and told the management teams, listen, if you can, not every department can do this, but if you can allow flexibility and your operations is very difficult to do that. It's a different animal. But if you have an office environment or you have an environment where you can let your staff go and you trust that staff, the staff is not abusing that, then that's a great opportunity. And some departments have already started doing that. So that's a good thing. We've also identified some issues in terms of business processes things between departments that really need to be addressed. We've already set up those meetings. So the next steps will be Amazing Workplace. Because we have so many, we've only dealt with 4 groups. We haven't had a chance to talk to all the departments yet. So we've asked Amazing Workplace to develop a video that they can speak to these issues in more detail from what I've seen and heard, and my management team, all the managers, directors, chiefs have had this very conversation that I had with Amazing Workplace. And if they can develop a video that we can show in the morning at 7 at noontime and in the afternoon to catch the shifts so that the employees see that we're working on and trying to develop these action plans that will address these issues that staff has raised. So we're working on that. We're also, over the next week, our management teams are going to be taking the recommendations from Amazing Workplace and start to implement and develop draft action plans by department, by these small 10 departments. And then we're going to coordinate those 10 departments, because in some cases you have departments that feel like one department is dumping work on the other department. And that's where that communication issue comes in as well. And then we're going to bring in the staff separately and distinctly. Once we get these action plans coordinated, we're going to bring in management team and staff to talk about the action plan and what they think about the action plan. And is there something that we missed so that we can make this a real document that we can actually achieve? And then we're going to continue to do that with the rest of the company. But we're trying to focus at this point on the 4 unhappiest groups. We are going to be looking at, as you, Paul Mashenko, we're actually looking at bringing him in to do leadership and communication training with our management teams, and even down to the supervisors. Supervisors 1026 are part of the management team. And so we're looking to bring that in. We're also looking to bring in training on generational. We talked a lot with our 184 unions about the real concerns about generational mindsets between Gen Zers and baby boomers, and how that makes issues at the work level. So lots of work going on, lots of positive work. And I'll give you an update, Commissioner, next month. And I know we're going to give an update at PPI when we have PPI.
Thank you. Question, Commissioner Torres?
Yes, is there going to be a handout on that, the presentation that we had the last time, a hard copy handout?
I'm sorry, Commissioner, say that again.
I think we had talked about getting a hard copy of the presentation that was made by the consultant.
Oh, yes.
I had all the breakdowns and that sort of thing, because it was kind of difficult.
Yeah, it was. It is difficult, and I apologize. Yes, we will, John.
Anybody that would like one, I'm happy to give it to you. I'll print one right now. It'll be ready for you.
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah, apologize for that.
Any other question? Mr. Taylor?
Yeah, guess I wind up being the bad guy again. But hey, I guess that's my function here. I'm having significant disconnect here, and let me tell you what the disconnect is. The climate study or survey, basically, was pushed through after a 2-year battle. And it was pushed through at the commissioner level, because we basically wanted to hear from the employees directly. What were they thinking? What was going on? It appears at this point that now management, who basically was opposed and basically fought us on it, but we battled and pushed it through, has now all of a sudden taken this thing over. And taken it over in the sense that we've not had a chance to look at the survey, to see what's there, so that on the commissioner level, we can basically hear what our employees are telling us. Basically, what we're having here is that we're having this whole thing essentially filtered by management. Management is now putting all of these things in place. Well, they're putting them in place because basically there are things that have popped up in the survey. All I'm saying basically is that at the commission level, we ought to have a chance to take a look at this stuff. I'm not trying to get into the business of running this operation. We're policy wonks, okay? But insofar as the primary purpose of putting that survey in place, it was at the commission level, commissioner level, PP&I, and the board. And I think that we basically have the right. Take a look at that survey without management in the middle, and to look at it and to read it and to chew on it if we can, and to discuss it among ourselves. And at that point, then have a chance to sit down and discuss it with management. But my concern basically is that we ask the employees basically to tell us, hey, what do you think is going on? And we asked from the commission level because we said we wanted to hear from them. And my concern basically is that we're getting a filtered message. And, you know, I'm willing to take the management study up or down the way it is. I have some concerns. It's basically, in my educational experience, I did fairly extensive work in survey research, both on a qualitative and quantitative basis. And I have some real concerns about this. So I am voicing my concerns. At the commission level, I think that we owe the employees an unfiltered look. Thank you.
Commissioner Taylor, you know, we've had this discussion before, and I'm not going to ask for comments or even allow comments from our CEO or our district council, but it's this chair's opinion that you are all about wanting to usurp the abilities of management to do its job and overstepping your position as chair of PPI. PPI approved the study went out. In one of your letters to me, you stated with great courage, the employees put forth their honest opinions. Now it's management's turn, and you've just heard from Scott, starting with those that have commented the most from those 4 different areas, to do the job and report back to us on what those positions identified, which we heard through Amazing Workplace, but how he's going to take corrective action to resolve those concerns by employees. He's meeting with all the employees, and that's his job. It's not this committee's job or members of this committee's job or the subcommittee of this committee. It's management's function to do what they're doing and then report back to us in what those outcomes will be and what we as a committee need to do and take the appropriate action to allow those proposed changes by the CEO to be implemented. And that's what my position is and my belief is at this time. So are there any other questions for the CEO? Commissioner Salemi.
I'm not for the CEO, Mr. Chairman. I think, I'm not going to dispute that management has a responsibility to do something about what we found in the survey. Yeah, they certainly do. I'm not, but my question is, and at the February 3rd meeting, we were presented with the survey. Well, and I mean, it certainly wasn't something, I don't think anybody expected us to read it right there at the meeting in one agenda item of the meeting and then discuss it. We haven't had an opportunity to talk about it and to ask questions about it and to see, you know, if the consultant has identified what Scott was talking about, what the areas that the consultant identified. There are 4 big areas and then there are 10 sub areas. And I think I'd like somebody to explain that to us, especially since we asked for the survey. I'm not going to suggest that we need to do face-to-face stuff with the employees, but I think we do have a responsibility to look at what they told us, because we promised them that we would, and then discuss that with management before we start enacting what we think the right thing to do is. We haven't said that yet. So that's my only point, is that I think we should have an opportunity, all commissioners, to have looked at the survey. We've had it for a month. And to basically look at those areas that were identified that Scott talked about. And with the consultant, with management, but to just move forward without any more participation from the board just doesn't seem right. That's my comment.
Thank you. Mr. Bush.
It's Commissioner Bush. Just a question. What authority does the board have to act on the results if we were able to read them? If we were able to know, do we have any ability other than communicating our concerns to management? And should that information be made available to the board, does that then open it up to further viewing by people who are not on the board? I mean, are we then sworn to some secrecy, or does that then allow that information to be disseminated beyond the ability to be controlled? Because to me, it seems like we're opening up a lot of very sensitive information although Commissioner Taylor may have some very legitimate concerns, I think that opening up that information creates an entire
I'm going to run down the church and put the light on.
can of worms that to me does not seem appropriate. But so if you could answer that question, what authority?
I think we've already answered that question in terms of, what should be released to this committee. And we've made clear when we started this process that their responses, and 67% of the employees responded, we promised them, we guaranteed them that they would be held in strict confidence. And we've been told numerous times that we can't look at the individual written comments because it can identify a subgroup or even identify an individual, which would then violate what we promised and we guaranteed them would happen. And we've had these discussions, and I think everyone knows the answers to your questions.
That we have.
Commissioner Desai.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree what you said, Mr. Chairman.
Can you speak up a little louder?
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry about that. Regardless of who initiated 2 years ago and all that, the bottom line is the survey was done. We have the results, and those results were shared with the entire board. Everybody had Q&A opportunity, and we saw the results. I think we can't operate our business based on assumptions. I haven't seen anybody coming up to the board and said, I have a problem. An employee or even the union representative or union management, anybody. I haven't seen anybody coming to the board and say they have a problem. So, I don't know what we are trying to address here. Is that are we just making an assumption that there is a problem?
Commissioner Desai, do you have a question?
No, I think so I think there is no question, but I think what I'm saying is I think we have to just move on with the process. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Question is, kind of a statement. I think that management has done a very quick job of determining what's going on. They've taken action, and I don't think we could ask for any better.
Questions? Any other questions? Scott, do you have anything else to report?
No, I don't.
Okay. Report from District Council.
No report, Mr. Chairman.
Number 10, report customer online bill pay upgrades. Scott.
Yeah, Kelly Shane, our
Oh,
CAO.
Keller.
Kelly Shane, Chief Administrative Officer here at the district. I am very excited to share this news with you. I have happiness to share today. This has been a pet project of mine and my team, and I have Patrick Hogan here with me he's a business systems analyst that works with me. Oh, thank you. and with our customer service team. He used to be a customer service rep for almost 11 years, right? And he's recently become, as of last year, a business systems analyst, and he's now a liaison with customer service and our IT department on our system, our billing system, our SAP billing system, and also the liaison with Kubra, who is our payment portal, third-party payment portal. And he is now managing this project. So he's going to come up here and tell you a little more detail, and I'm just going to give you a little overview of our project. So I remember Chairman Curry saying sometime last year, how come we don't have a payment app? Everybody has a payment app. You know, the EverSource, you can go on your phone, you can pay your bill online on your phone. Some companies you can pay by text. We didn't have those things. And we also had a portal, and we currently have a portal, a payment portal that's a little antiquated, a little hard to maneuver. How many of you currently use that payment portal? And I know that Commissioner Bush uses that payment portal for multiple accounts, correct? And it's a little painful.
Painful.
I know, and I'm here to tell you, this is the happiness. I am here to tell you that that is all going to change by this summer. Let me get to the next slide. Make sure I can do this. I'm hoping so. So I'm just going to walk through just an overview, and then I'm going to ask Patrick to show you a few things. So we are going to have a payment portal. We are upgrading, giving a facelift to the payment portal, where we will have new features. We'll optimize our customer self-service experience. You will no longer need our customer service staff and a phone call to fix your password, to get help to navigate the system or change a payment method on one of your multiple accounts. I know that's a problem. We're going to have new efficient methods to pay, and we're going to meet customers where they are, on their phones, via a text, and we're just very excited about this. So we're going to go live. This is our plan. So we've contracted with our third-party payment vendor through a statement of work, which we're allowed to do under our contract, to upgrade the portal. We haven't upgraded the portal since we went live with this company quite a while ago. We will have a modern look and feel, which Patrick is going to show you the difference between the two. Just a screenshot, nothing new. It's kind of early in the program. We started this project at the end of January, and we're going live in July. So it's a 6-month project. Customers won't see a lot of difference. All the accounts will move because it's the same company. We're just moving to a new portal. It's a portal upgrade, just like we did an SAP upgrade. The good news is one of the best features that we're going to have is going to change this month. We're going to have a pay by text feature through our Easy Pay, which is a guest can go into our portal and make a one-time payment, and they'll be able to set up when they go in and make that one-time payment. They'll be able to set up for future a pay by text feature so that next month, they'll get a text 5 days before, and they'll be able to pay their bill just by simply putting in a code and saying, yep, pay my bill. And I know that I've been asked before about credit card payments and being able to schedule a credit card payment. And through that pay by text and that Easy Pay portal, they will be able to schedule it via a credit card. That's going to help tremendously our collections group, who will also will appreciate customers who need to pay with a credit card. So that's awesome news too. And lastly, we will have a mobile app up and running that'll work just like our payment portal, but you'll have a mobile app to do it. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Patrick, who's going to share some more slides and just show you a little look and feel. And then I'll come back up and just close it out with some statistics that I think you'll be interested in. Patrick?
All right, thank you, Kelly. Commissioners, thank you. Good evening. So what you're looking at on the screen here, this is right from our website. And these are the options that our customers have currently to pay. You can see the first option is self-service. That's for one-time and recurring payment. That is our current link to our portal, which we will be upgrading. That's where customers pay with ACH and they can view their statements, and that's what we're going to be bringing up to speed. Below that is Easy Pay. As Kelly mentioned, this is the link where they can click for when we go live with Pay by Text. At the checkout screen, they're going to be able to activate Pay by Text feature if they so choose. Some of the other options below, we also offer retail cash payments at different locations. This can be CVS, Family Dollar, Walmart. A customer can come in with their MDC bill. They can scan it and make a payment with cash. If they don't have their bill, they have the option to go into our website, getting a QR code. They do need to have their account number and billing zip code to get that QR code. So, and the last option below at the bottom is pay by phone. A lot of our customers actually utilize this feature. They can call in. They can also, make a payment at any time of day, and that's with credit card, debit card, and ACH as well over the phone. So I think this slide is important because it actually shows everybody here what our customers have at their disposal for making payment. Okay, so this slide that you're looking at here on the left-hand side, this is the current enrollment screen. You can see that it's kind of dated. We've been in this existing portal for quite some time now. So I'm happy to see that Kelly's taking this as a priority to upgrade what our customers do see when they log in. So to the right, you'll see the landing page. So once they click on self-service portal that you just saw from the previous slide, they'll then see this here where they can sign up and register if they have yet to do that, or they can go to the sign in to the right if they already have an existing portal. I know Kelly mentioned this as well. We are going to migrate every existing customer that's currently in our platform from the old to the new, so it's very seamless. And everything on this screen that you see to the right is customizable to MDC, meaning you can put your own branding. The My Account in the background, it will move pictures, so you can have the reservoir there if you would like. The tiles at the bottom, those are also customizable. So we're engaging with Julie in marketing to make this a good picture for our customers to utilize best. Okay, jumping right into it. This is going to be the MDC payment portal upgrade. So some of the new features I just want to quickly go over. We're going to have secure PDF billing. What is that, right? Right now in our existing portal, customers, if they have paperless, they can select for that. But unfortunately, we just send out an alert to them, an email alert saying that there's a new document that's ready to view. In the future, the customer, if they select to receive a PDF bill, they're actually going to get a PDF statement. They don't need to log into their account to view their water bill. As soon as we invoice a monthly statement, they're going to get a push out into their email so they can actually view the statement. The next feature I would like to speak to would be the password reset. I would say I was on the phones for many years. Customers get locked out of their existing portal way too often, and it shouldn't require a call to the MDC. So we're going to eliminate that. Moving forward, it's going to be very seamless. It's going to be a verification code sent, and they can go into their email and they can reset their password just from their email themselves. So it's very self-serving. This is truly self-serving. And the last bullet point here is the multiple accounts. So if you do have a lot of properties, maybe you have just one or two, the template for this dashboard is a lot sleeker, easier to navigate. You shouldn't have any timing out issues. But we also have some commercial accounts that have, say, 60 properties that they may manage. So we have a commercial template that we would utilize for some of our commercial accounts, because not everybody's, it's not going to be a one size fits all. We have residential with multiple homes, but we also have commercial. So this upgrade is gonna hopefully be a good fit for the different populations of customers that we do have. The next initiative that we're going to be hopefully going live with soon will be pay by text through Easy Pay. So remember the first slide there, our customers can click on Easy Pay. Once they go all the way through with the payment, they're going to see an activation link. And if they want to activate for pay by text, they can click on that link. They will show them the mobile phone that they choose to have this text push to go out to. And they'll get an actual enrollment, so they can confirm that they're enrolled for pay by text. So then when the next invoice comes out, if they have not paid the water bill 5 days before due date, we will push out a reminder. The customers can act on that reminder, and they can actually prompt a payment directly by text message. They can opt to do nothing, and that means they will stay and continue to be enrolled, and next month they will also get a text message, or they can text back with a reply as stop. That will de-enroll them from the pay by text. And if they want to enroll in the future, they do have that option. So I think a lot of our customers may like this. It's going to be cool to see it grow over time, but it's going to be something that we'll be rolling out quite soon. And the last initiative that we have is MDC Pay, and I'm actually very excited about this one. This is going to be an application that's going to be available on Google Play for Android and also the App Store for iOS users. And this is going to have the same look and feel as the customer portal, which is a web-based portal. But this is obviously going to be on their phone, on their tablet. So they're going to be able to set up paperless. They can set up auto pay. They can view their payments. And everything that they can do online, they can do on their phone. So I'm very excited for this feature. And you can either have just the application on your phone, or you can have both. If you do have a portal online, you can download the app, and your login from the portal online will carry into the app. You don't have to re-register or anything like that. So it's going to be hopefully a lot smoother for our customers to transition if they want to download the app and utilize it.
Thanks, Patrick. So just to summarize and finish off here, there's a lot of benefits to customers. Hopefully you saw that with some of the screenshots here. But our customers will definitely recognize the easier navigation, the password reset. That's going to be a huge benefit to our customer service team. We estimate that we actually know 25% of all of our calls every month are for KUBRA-related calls, navigation, password reset. So we anticipate we will decrease our total number of calls by 25% with this, which we could really use right now. Also, the amount of time for those calls, we should be able to decrease at least an estimated minute off of our total average time of calls. Because right now our total average time of calls is between 4 and 5 minutes. But these calls, these 25% of calls usually take between 10 and 12 minutes when we're on the portal helping our customers get reestablished. So we do totally, we will definitely bring out those averages down, which are benchmark averages, statistics that we can use to benchmark with other water companies. And, those are standards in the industry, which we're not meeting right now. But one thing that I did want to share with you is right now we send out, so just in January, I looked at the statistics just for January's bills. We sent out, and we sent out 70,000, let's see. We sent out 70% of our bills were paper bills. 70% of our customers received paper bills. And guess how much of a percentage of those bills were paid electronically? 70% of our bills, our 86,000 bills were paid, and 70% of those bills were paid electronically. There's something wrong with that picture because we pay an electronic transaction fee and we pay for that bill to go out. What I would like to do is drive more customers to paperless billing. That can be done through that secure PDF billing. Once we have the ability to send you a PDF bill via email, and that is secure, that will be password secure. It will be by your zip code. It's nothing fancy, but you'll need your zip code to open it. Once you receive that PDF bill, we can align it with our SAP system to then take you off of paper billing automatically so that you're receiving a bill, but you can print it out if you want to on your printer, but we don't have to then pay to send you that paper bill. And I would also come to the board possibly next year once we get this established, if it makes sense to make this an incentivized either through a discount off of the, a customer service charge, or create many companies do take $1 off each bill if you choose to go paperless. That would save us money. It costs right now about $1 to send out a paper bill each month. And the electronic transaction is between 30 and 40 cents. So with the PDF bill. So right now, for those 70% who are paying electronically, so that's a difference of about 40% of our bills or our customers are not only receiving a paper bill, but they're also paying electronically. So we're paying twice, for an electronic transaction and for the paper bill. So I really believe we can really drive down costs if we can move folks towards paperless billing and stop sending out all that paper. So there's some cost efficiencies to be gained, but more importantly, I think it's the customer's experience with our payment portal. And so really excited about this, and our team has been working very hard. It's a cross-functional team between Treasury, customer service, and IT. This is the business enablement team that we put together when we went live with SAP in 2020, still working together today, and this is going to be a big accomplishment. So sorry to take up that much time, but it's an important project, and I'm really excited about it. And we can answer any of your questions if you have any.
Kelly, first, I'd like to congratulate you and the team and anyone and everyone who was involved in this. It's really great news for our customers, but it's also, as you said, great news for our staff, especially those that have to deal with all these phone calls. You mentioned the cost associated with paper fees, and as my kids would say to me, and they have said to me, Dad, welcome to the 20th century. Not the 21st, but the 20th. I found that many of our utilities out there are charging like $3.50 for someone who wants to stay with paper. So I would really encourage you to not give a discount to those who don't, but I would encourage you to come back to us to establish a fee for those that do. So with that, I'll open for questions. Commissioner Bush.
I have to say, personally, I think this is a happy presentation for me. We've been using the system for many years, and we have about 90 accounts that we work with, or 80 accounts. It's frustrating and challenging. And the most important thing that I just want to ask is when you migrate to the new system, all of the accounts, payment information, automatic payments, those are going to we're not going to have to reset all that up. That's going to transition over.
That is correct. That is what we are told. We will be testing the living daylights out of it. So yes, that is what we are promised.
That's great. One of the other issues that I know that you all know this, that when you have a tenant in a building, they cannot take the water bill in their name. It must stay in the name of the owner.
That is correct.
That always presents a challenge for landlords who have to then, if they're charging for water to the tenant, they have to get the bill and give them the bill, figure out some way to make it happen. Is there going to be a way on the new system where an owner can set up an authorized user or a tenant that can log in for that pay by text feature? Will that be something that the owner can go in and say, I'd like to allow a number or change the phone number or the text, pay by text number? Is there going to be any ability for the owners to have any flexibility with that?
So pay by, the guest payment, anybody can, with an account number, can go in and make a payment as a guest. Correct?
Okay, so
We don't encourage that because the owner is responsible for that bill. That's what I have to say about
Right.
that.
That's a good answer. That's fine.
Okay.
It's better than physically mailing it. And then,
And once that person that is a guest goes in, they can sign up for text to pay.
and then the owner could go in and delete that number or change that number. The owner would have authority to go in and manipulate that if the tenant moved out.
The owner can have their own Kubra account and watch their account every month.
Right, and then still have a guest go in to pay. Because that's the issue now, is that once an owner establishes their Kubra account, only that owner with that user ID and password can log in. You can't give that information to somebody else to log in to pay the bill.
And that's to protect the owner as well.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
But a guest is a guest. They can go in.
right.
Any guest could go in.
All right. I only have one last question. Is there going to be a maximum number of accounts per login? Because I think now that we have to have multiple. Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to the new system.
Commissioner Torres?
Yes, is there any cost to be incurred by either the MDC or the customer for the use of the credit card?
The same cost that is today, it's a $1.95 fee for paying with a credit card, up to $1,000. We have limited credit card payments to $1,000 because credit card companies charge a percentage once it goes over. We negotiated $1.95 up to $1,000. If it goes over $1,000, it becomes a percentage of the cost of the amount, and we don't want our customers to pay any more than that.
Question is, because I pay my credit card on the phone, and the credit card company, the bank, already has on file not a debit card, but an account that I use pay over the phone, my statement every month. Would we have that same ability?
You're talking about you pay your bill through your bank?
Right.
Yes, we do have that. It's our electronic lockbox, and that's your paper bill goes to you, and you've set up your payment through your bank. We have, I don't have the stat in front of me, but those who don't have a Kubra account, or those that do, I know some customers who have a Kubra account but set up payment through their bank. That's an electronic payment. So of those 70% that make payment, I believe about 50% of our customers pay through Kubra and Kubra electronic means, and so 20% pay through their own banks. All electronic, but that would be a bank account, not necessarily a card.
You're
Yeah.
talking about a bank account that
Yep.
is just automatically
Yep.
say, take it out of that account.
Yep, and that goes through JP Morgan, our bank, because that's, it goes bank to bank and it comes through, the payment comes through that way. Yep.
Commissioner
This
Lozano?
affect staffing at all? Layoffs or whatever, but automation?
Yes.
No, it will help with our staffing.
Oh, yeah, I mean, these, every time we add technology to anything, you wind up having to add IT staff. So you change, when you go from a manual process to it using technology, you just change the type of job that you add to the company. and IT staff is, and I would say Patrick is a perfect example. Patrick was a customer service agent. You know, if you think about, Patrick did a great presentation. He's taken on a big responsibility here to manage a project, and he was a customer, lowest level paying job in the company, and he's been promoted because we need more technology, and so Patrick got a promotion out of this, right, Pat? Yes. So and we added more customer service people. We just hired one in the last couple of weeks. So
All right, I want to be sure I understand Commissioner Mazzano's question. You asked with a 25% reduction in calls coming in, would it then be responsible for any possible layoffs within that department? And the answer is yes or no?
No.
Yes or no?
No,
Thank you.
no.
No.
Commissioner Torres.
Just following up on the same line of thinking, is there going to be an opportunity then, for instance, if potentially, as we automate and become more technologically efficient, that some of those folks that were doing a lot of the work manually, okay, could potentially, okay, not be needed because of the volume not coming in for them to do that work, that we provide opportunities for those individuals to be able to transition to those IT tech jobs, okay, that perhaps they were not doing before. Because there's a difference here. There may be other IT jobs that open up, but will these people be able to transition to them? Will they have the skills to be able to do that?
yeah, if I may, Mr. Chairman. So there's never not a crisis at the MDC. And everything that we do, no matter what it is, usually generates a crisis. And unfortunately, if you look at the results of the climate survey, the 4 groups that we're talking about, within the people who are the most unhappy, and I think had a very smart commissioner say this to me, Commissioner Gentile, that it's very obvious that the people that are most unhappy are the people who have to deal with the problems, the people who have to deal with the customers yelling and screaming at them because somebody at headquarters or somebody in operations or somebody else in the company made a decision and didn't let them know. So no, I would say we've actually added, I just talked to Kelly about this the other day, about adding another customer service agent, because with all of the work we're doing in North Hartford, those phone calls just come in and there's no stopping it. We're going to be knocking on 1,700 homes in North Hartford this coming season, and that generates multiple phone calls. So the answer is, it's not going to reduce our workload in customer service, but it will increase our need for technical staff, whether it's an SAP or whether it's like project management skills like Patrick's doing for us to improve Kubra. So we will not need to reduce our workforce.
Can I add a few other examples? Testing. As we modernize our systems, we need customer service to help us with testing these new systems. I'm going to give another example, AMI, and how we're doing our meter reading and getting real-time readings in the near future for a lot of our meters. Customer service and billing are very involved in that within the customer service team. And Patrick's been involved in this too, to Metra. We have a real live system that we can go in, and instead of seeing disparities in meter reads on a monthly basis, we now can set alarms and look at residential meter reads that spike on any given day, like this is coming. And our customer billing folks in customer service can be looking for those spikes and then can proactively call a customer instead of waiting the month till the new read comes in a monthly basis. We're getting them on a daily, half daily, couple hourly, right, Chris, basis when we get going with that, which will allow us to, in real time, call customers and say, are you filling your pool, or is we see that you have an irrigation system. is it on, or could you go check, is your meter spinning? And we can do a lot more proactive customer service that makes a difference rather than reacting. So I see that as the future.
Mr. Grudeau?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a couple of things here. How is this going to be communicated to the customers? And by the way, I want to pay by check and I don't want to be penalized for it because the stamp costs 80 cents or whatever it is now, but that's for another day. So how is,
You want to pay by check, you can pay by check. 30% of our customers pay by check and you're all good.
So-
I'm not going to not take your check.
no, I understand that, but how is it going to be communicated to customers of all this stuff?
I'm glad you asked that. I didn't get to add it, but Julie McLaughlin, who's not here today because it's her birthday, from marketing, she did, and communications, she did remind me that if you go on our website right now on that page that Patrick had shown us, it does say coming soon, pay by text. We do have that up there. And I've been told that folks that know how to do all this electronic stuff, they find it and they do it themselves. But we will have a we actually have a plan for marketing in this month's bill, the March bill. You will see on the insert that it talks about pay by text. So as we get closer to this summer, you're going to see more on this. And we also have other tools, our social media, our Facebook page, our, where's Nick? Yeah. We're good. I'm good. Yeah. So we'll be advertising more of this as we get closer, but I will be honest with you. I want to make sure when I tell you July 1, that is the project schedule today. If it doesn't test out right, I'm not going live with a product that doesn't work. So Kubra tends to want to push us to go live and, oh, we'll fix this or that at the, when we can, but you can go live with this. No, I will not go live and subject our customers to any problems. So it could get towards a little later in July or maybe even August. So I'm positive and happy, so I'm going to say July 1, but as we don't want to give a pure date out there to our customers until we're sure.
I have one more thing, Mr. Chairman. Is credit card only available through this pay by text, or is it available? I don't know.
No.
I only go to the website to find stuff for meetings, but, so I'm not that familiar with it. So it's only pay by text for credit card?
I will tell you this, because we talked about this before, you and I. To schedule a payment, it will be, but this is a good news item. So on our website now, there will be a link to pay with a credit card. Currently, you cannot pay with a credit card on our Kubra site, and it's because of banking rules. We're not a bank, because you cannot schedule, because of that $1.95 payment, you cannot schedule a credit card payment. The difference is with pay by text, because you're giving permission via a text with a code. You're saying, yep, make my payment. You're agreeing when you sign up for pay by text that you will use that payment method and you'll pay that fee of $1.95. And by the way, that $1.95 goes directly to Kubra, not to us. You can do that through pay by text, but there will now be a link on the website in their account, so they can always choose to pay with a credit card, which takes them right to the Easy Pay portal, and they will not have to re-log in or anything like that. They'll be in the the Easy Pay portal, and they'll be able to make their credit card payment there.
Very good. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Kelly, thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Patrick.
Next is number 11, MDC Safety Department.
Yes, Craig Scott. So if everyone could remember, unfortunately, last summer during construction season, we had a fatality. One of our construction workers for one of our contractors was killed in Hartford, and a vehicle driving 70 miles an hour drove through the construction site. with all of the protections. We had our Hartford PD there. We had our own safety people there. And this person drove right through the site at 70 miles an hour and literally killed Mr. Nueves. We're actually working with the city of Hartford to develop an ordinance and a memorial for Mr. Nueves. And we're going to have a ceremony, and we're working towards that this coming spring. But in hindsight of what happened last year's construction season, I've asked staff to develop safety protocols. Nothing could have stopped the incident that occurred last year, given the rate of speed. But there's things that we can do, and we're going to. So we're going to give you a little presentation about some initiatives, safety equipment that we're going to be utilizing, not only for our MDC staff, but also requiring our contractors to utilize as well. And I figured since Craig's here, he's going to give you a little update on the OSHA, injuries that we have to report to the state every year. Go ahead, Craig.
That was the boulevard.
Yes.
They had
Yes.
the street blocked off.
Yeah, the street was blocked off, and we had 4 police officers, and we're just lucky that no one else was killed during that event. And it was a terrible scene. And so we're trying to implement safety. If you saw what happened in New Orleans recently, there were physical barriers, mobilized steel barriers that the town of New Orleans had purchased, didn't implement, but had purchased. And we're going to be implementing those kinds of devices on our construction site.
Yes, so thank you. I'm Craig Scott. I'm the manager of Environment, Health, and Safety. And I'll just give you a little update of our OSHA recordable instances for our employees. So over the last 20 years, our injury rate has trended down quite significantly. So this is our graph showing the last 20 years of our incidences. And as of 2024, we're at 19. So OSHA requires us to report to them every calendar year the number of OSHA incidences or injuries that we have for our staff. And as you can see, we've trended down quite well. A little bit tighter, this is the 10-year OSHA recordable. And like I said, we're at 19 right now. The dip in 2020, that was the COVID year. So, we had less staff working and less projects going on. So that was what that dip was. The 5-year annual lost time. So annual time lost, that's for employees that spend time away from work and they've had an injury that requires them to stay at home, that they're not cleared to return to work. So we have to report those number of days and number of injuries that that staff has. And then we have restricted duty injuries. So you have an employee that is, they're injured, but they can come back to work, and but they have restricted duty. They can't lift certain things or a certain weight. So 2023, we had 0, but for 2024, we had 4, which means, some of the employees were allowed to come back to work. Other recordable injuries, this is normally minor in severity, but requires more than basic first aid treatment. These examples are like prescription medication, stitches, physical therapy, poison ivy. A lot of our guys are out doing forestry work. They can get poison ivy or ticks, that kind of thing. And then our 5-year annual lost day count. So lost day counts are capped at 180 days per OSHA. So if you have a severe injury and the person can't work, say it's a back injury and they're out for 6 months, then we get capped at 180 days for reporting that. So for 2024, we're down to 563 days of lost work. And then our annual restricted day count, again, has come up a little bit. We're at 419, meaning that we've allowed some of the employees to come back to work. So our restricted days are a little bit less, or a little bit more. And some of the contributing factors to reducing the injury rate, we've increased our training. EH&S has we do a lot of in-person training. We also have online training program we implemented a few years ago, and that helps to keep the awareness of safety for our employees, for potential hazards, risks, and that kind of things, and keeps them on the forefront of safety, always on their mind. EH&S also does site visits at our facilities and also at on the job, the street projects. We stop in and see how things are going and make sure that everything's being safe. It keeps that awareness to our staff that to be safe out there. We also provide the personal protective equipment, hard hats, safety glasses, vests and things like that, making sure our employees are wearing those during their tasks to keep them safe. And also we have safety committees at all our different facilities. And again, that allows some of the employees to bring up safety items to us that we can correct those measures or make sure we address those issues. And that's all I have for tonight. Any questions?
Questions?
Yes.
Mr. Torres?
On the site visits, how frequent are the site visits done on a project, and who does them?
Oh, we do it about once a week. And we have some of our staff, there's 2 safety members of our staff that go out and check on those guys.
Is there an opportunity for a staff person on a site to be able to alert your folks?
Absolutely, yep. Yep, there's supervisors on the site will let us know if there's a problem or a concern, yeah.
Commissioner Slemmy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So what you're reporting on is strictly the MDC employees. Well, we have literally hundreds of contract employees. Like, unfortunately, the fatality was a contract employee, you know. So does the project manager have the responsibility to do this for the, or to see that this is done for contract work that's being done for the MDC?
Yeah, the contractors have their own.
Each one, they have their own safety plan and an officer, but how do we make sure that they get it done? Is it through the program manager or the individual project managers for each one of these projects?
Yes, the project managers will coordinate with us. We will go and talk we have a good relationship with all the safety people for our contractors. So if there is an issue that comes up, we do talk with them and make sure that things get addressed.
And who, Mr. Chairman, I just have, so who does like, for instance, the placement of the safety equipment? Do MDC employees do some of that, or is that all done by a safety contractor? The cones in the street and, you know.
Well, it depends for the MDC projects. You know, our guys do the work zone setup and cones and signs and all that stuff, trench boxes, things like that. For the contractors, they do their own safety signs and work zone setups.
Right. So the one where this fatality happened, that was a contractor project.
Correct. Yep.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
If I may, just to add, but Commissioner Slemmy, that on the larger contracts, street projects that are not MDC staff, they're contractors. Obviously, we have project managers, construction managers, supervisors that are MDC staff or consultants. But we have a consultant that runs our safety program for all of those capitalized projects that are not MDC driven.
My question, Scott, was just someone has to fulfill OSHA's requirement.
Right.
So In those cases, it's done by a contractor, not
Correct.
by us. And
Correct.
we do, when it's our own employees doing it, we do it.
Correct.
Commissioner Torres.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, for those contracted jobs, is there a requirement of any kind of potential bonding that they have to provide in case something does happen that might expose the MDC to liability?
Yes, absolutely. The contractor is required to provide us with all kinds of insurance and bonds under the project. The contract language clearly outlines environmental liabilities, injury, umbrella, collapse, all of the issues that could occur on any construction project. There's limits on the amounts of money that they have to cover for the project.
Would something, again, to the Chairman, would something like this unfortunate situation that occurred, would that come under that kind of bonding?
Well, yes, and in this case, in this specific case, the contractor, although there's nothing anyone could have done to stop this individual. This individual came off the highway, as most people might have seen the reports, swerving through the highway and came off the highway ramp, came down onto a local street at 70 miles an hour. There's nothing anyone could have done to stop that car, but the contractor was fined by OSHA. The penalty was reduced dramatically after they went through the process, but the contractor was fined, and it's part of the contractor's responsibility.
Any other questions? I have one. Is it possible to pull reports from other water companies in Connecticut? While our numbers look good and the trends look good, we're only seeing MDC.
So, yeah,
See the comparisons from other water companies?
I'm not sure where I could get that information, but I know that the average injury rate for OSHA is 4 injuries per 100 employees. So we're pretty on average with that.
If you can provide us with any statistics, whether it be comparison, bar
Sure.
graphs, or any other statistic that would give us a better grasp on where we are and where we would want to be.
Okay, sure. Yep.
Anything else? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Craig.
All right, next, item 12, Committee on MDC Government, consideration and potential action. Proposed House Bill number 5840, an act concerning the Metropolitan District Commission and payment in lieu of taxes. Chair recognizes Chair Bazzano.
Chairman, this item was heard at the Government Committee. It's an item that, it's a piece of legislation that was introduced by State Representative James Sanchez. And the item itself pertains to the MDC being included in the state's pilot program. After some discussion, the committee decided to refer it back to the full body without a recommendation. There really is no action that we need to take in this body. However, a report was generated, so at this point, I would like to make a motion that this body received the report that was generated by the Government Committee.
Okay, is there a second to that?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Well, Mr. Torres.
If I may, we want to make sure that there is no potential opposition by the MDC as this goes to hearing. While there is no recommendation other than to receive, we want to perhaps educate the commissioners as to why this is occurring. As we all know, the MDC is a municipality, legally a municipality, which is exempt from all basically property taxes in the member towns that it has property on. And just for your consideration, so that you understand why this is going forward, and if your own legislators, representatives, come back and ask you, just an idea, for instance, when we look at the taxable properties that are in the member towns. According to the state itself, OMB, Bloomfield, for instance, has almost $28 million of taxable value. East Hartford has 6 million. Hartford, 198 million. Newington, almost 990,000. Rocky Hill, a little over 1.5 million. West Hartford has over 19 million. Weathersfield, 331,000. Windsor, a little over $3 million. So if these towns were to receive the pilot money, which is payment in lieu of taxes for these properties, that would generate dollars that are not coming to the member towns for those properties. It wouldn't cost the MDC any outlay of any dollars, because the idea is that it would be included in the formula that the state has for trying to make whole the municipalities that are providing this tax exemption to these municipalities. So that's the kind of the picture why this is being studied as a possible change in adding the MDC to the pilot formula.
Any other question? Commissioner DeBella?
Is the committee supporting the legislation?
At the committee meeting, we really didn't take a stand, but certainly we weren't going to fight it.
It did not oppose,
We're not opposed to it.
the committee did not oppose the bill. There was no opposition to the bill.
But strategically, we're not, I guess that's Chris, are we?
No, you don't have to ask me.
The motion is to accept the report.
The government committee took that, their position was not to take a position. And so we're taking that direction regardless of what unless this body does something different. We're taking that position and we're not, it hasn't been scheduled for, let me finish, please. It hasn't been scheduled for a public hearing. If it gets a public hearing, we're not testifying one way or the other.
I would only add that I think the main reason it came before government was not the bill itself, but the confusion leading up to the presentation to the government committee, and the fact that Representative Sanchez put forth this bill with the full intent of the pilot money being paid by the state, not being paid by MDC. But 5, 6, or 8 years ago, there was a bill that was proposed. And to me, it appears that somebody did a cut and paste, and that's what ended up. And that's what was originally seen by all of the reps as they decided whether to sign on to it or not. So it's just a lot of clarification that came before government committee to make sure we all understood that Representative Sanchez's intent was never to have MDC pay the pilot money, but be paid for by the state with all other pilot funds. Mr. Drake?
The only question I have, and I think it makes some sense, but does that include like open space and parks and all that stuff where you own, the state is going to pay these towns? Like the town of West Hartford, more part to them, are they going to get a big check for the reservoir that we take care? So is that included?
If the bill passes, they'll get a check. This will be added to their whatever pilot they get from the state.
Okay. Is there any way I can ask for a park built in my town for the,
Yes, two
Ms. Van Dyke?
Mr. Chair. The first is I'm wondering why we as a regional authority wouldn't take a position on this bill, which helps our 8-member town. The second question that I had is, I just want to make sure our member towns know about this legislation, and I would hope that we are communicating to them because it does help all of our member towns out.
Well, I would say that's not necessarily true. And it will help all member towns out. If the pot of money doesn't change, that may not be the case. If the bill is approved and the pot of money remains the same, that may not be the case. So.
Well, it wouldn't be this change. There'd have to be an appropriation increase so it doesn't affect everybody else.
Exactly. Any other questions?
Wait, can I just get an answer to my
Go ahead.
I'd just like an answer about why we are not taking a position though. Is that the reason? Because it might not help all of our towns out, but
We're not taking a position because the government committee made the recommendation to the board without that. They only moved that we accept the report. And that was their decision. And your justification and your logic for, in the event it may not help all of us, could be a reason, but that's not the reason, but it could be. Commissioner Torres.
Although the committee has asked that the commissioners accept the report, but I agree that with Commissioner Mandak that there should be I think at least communication to our representatives from the member towns that this would be a good thing for the towns that are members of the MDC. But that this communication somehow gets to them from the commissioners. There are other representatives that have signed on to this bill, including Commissioner, the legislator from East Hartford, and I forget who else was also a co-signer of the bill. So there are some legislators that are supporting this from other member towns. But I think it would behoove the towns to have all of its representatives, all of its legislators, representatives actually sign on to the bill or support the bill or understand it, so that so they can move forward in appropriations. But again, you know, it's one. How do we do that?
Well, it's if I may, Commissioner Torres, while the government committee has instructed Chair Bozzano to make the motion he made, it would be unfair, in my opinion, to ask him to withdraw the motion. However, that motion certainly can be amended, and then Commissioner Bozzano would not be in a position of not fulfilling his role as directed by his committee. So if someone wants to make a motion to amend it,
I would move to amend it that the report be accepted, but that the member towns be notified that that there is no opposition from the commission for this bill to move forward, something along those lines.
could I ask that you include something to the effect that the bill as written, as currently written?
Yes.
So if it changes, we may not be as supportive of it, so.
Presently, it specifies member towns, only the member towns.
Okay, but as written.
As written.
Okay. Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Further discussion? Chair Salemi? Commissioner Salemi?
You know, for me, I think the question is, and Council Stone sort of brought the issue up, and is really, when it comes to pilot payments or tax payments, it's really who pays? You know, who's going to pay this? You know, and so the idea is that for pilot payments, my understanding is that the way that it was written was that the state would make pilot payments to the MDC towns that have the various different infrastructure of the MDC in it. Now, the reason we don't pay tax on that because the towns and the MDC own those facilities together. So the towns would be taxing the MDC, and the MDC would be collecting the revenue to pay those taxes from the towns. Obviously, it doesn't make any sense. It's just, you know, so we don't do it that way. But for the opportunity for the state to make a contribution to the towns that support the major infrastructure in the MDC is definitely something I'd be interested in, and I'd like to understand how that's going to happen. And I think that that's sort of what we're waiting to to hear from the committee if they can do that. And one of the reasons that I think if you look at the flip side of that, you'll see why, you know, the towns that, you know, the MDC, our customers, our water customers pay for the clean water project. And that clean water project was developed by DEP to protect Long Island Sound. But we pay for that. And there's no pilot payment into that. So, I mean, the idea that other municipalities or other taxpayers outside of the district might make some sort of contribution towards the pilot payment to a town for supporting major infrastructure that supports, you know, all the 8 member towns and beyond, and provides a service like the Clean Water Project, and the only one in the state of Connecticut, by the way, that's actually been as effective as we have. I think I'd be interested in knowing if that's where the money's going to come from. That's my position on it, and I support Chairman Bizzano's position. I think we got to hear from the committee. Where's the committee going to go on this? Not the government committee. I'm talking about at the Capitol. Where are they going? I'd like to know more about that to be sure of that. So, thank you,
Commissioner Torres.
Yes, in conversations with the leadership at the legislature, it was felt that it was not an insurmountable addition to the pilot to add the MDC to the pilot formula.
Yep.
That it was reasonable. That it was something that they could consider.
I understand.
Because it was not, and in fact, the pilot at this time under this particular formula would probably reimburse or through the pilot maybe about 15-20% of the actual assessment on the properties, which is why it was not seen as a huge investment on the part of appropriations to do this.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Bella.
The way the program works, it's an appropriation from the General Assembly that affects everybody that's in the system. So when you add someone to the system, if the appropriation isn't increased, then it reduces the amount that everybody else gets. So that's the issue that you deal with at the legislature, because no one gets 100% of the cost from any community. So there's a pot of money that goes in there. So whoever's in that program, when you add someone else into the program gets smaller, or you add more money to it so that it equalizes where it is now. And that's an appropriation decision that's going to have to be.
But the appropriations that they would have to consider whether it leaves the pot the same or it increases the appropriations part.
Right. If it doesn't, it
It's up to them to do
reduces
that.
everybody's existing appropriation.
Any other questions? All right. All in favor of the motion as amended to support the bill as presently written? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now, vote on the motion, the main motion as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Move on now to number 13, Bureau of Public Works, consideration potential action declaring Pearson Lane final assessments due and payable. Chair recognizes Chair Hoffman.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee met tonight, took action, and voted this item through the committee unanimously.
And can we have a motion? Chairman Hoffman, motion to approve?
Yes, sir.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next, number 14, consideration potential action settlement of pending claim, Hector Diaz, possible executive session. Chris?
Yes, Chris Stone, District Council. I'm going to keep it relatively brief and avoid having to go into executive session. If someone has specific questions that require executive session, then I'll leave that to the board to go in or not. This is a claim that's been brought against the MDC. It's not in suit yet. It was a claim that arose in 2023 in the town of East Hartford. It was a motor vehicle accident involving an MDC vehicle. Police came out. The police determined that the MDC operator of the MDC vehicle was at fault. There were some soft tissue injuries to the person in the claimant's car. The medical bills are primarily chiropractic bills being treated over the course of 4 months. Total bills of $13,318.22. There was an initial demand of $25,000, which was supported by our insurance company, Travelers. Just as an aside, we are self-insured up to $250,000. So any settlement below that $250,000 comes out of our pocket. Subject to the board approval, we determined that the reasonable, because I am very skeptical about soft tissue injury and chiropractic bills over an extended period of time, but that's personal, not policy, that's personal. They do a great job, but that seems like a long time for treatment. But in any event, subject to the board approval, we gave our insurance company the authority to offer $8,000. They came back and agreed to accept $9,000, and that's the recommendation from my office today, is to settle the case for the $9,000.
Move acceptance.
Second.
Question, but be careful of what you ask. So go ahead.
Understand, Mr. Chairman. To the district council, does this prevent any further action in the future by this one payment?
No, well, first of all, it doesn't set any precedent because all these cases are different and unique, factually unique. But as to this particular claimant, in exchange for the payment, I think they may have signed, preliminarily approved at least, a general release, which releases us of all claims.
That's what I want to know. Thank you very much.
Any other question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next opportunity for general public comments. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board?
Judy Allen, West Hartford. First, I appreciate Kelly's enthusiasm in her presentation. That was cool. I also appreciate CEO Jellison's response to the results of the Amazing Workplace Survey so quickly, and what sounds like a very promising systematic way for eliciting more feedback and addressing the issues already found. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Next, commissioner request for consideration of future agenda items. Hearing none, seeing none. Oh, this way. Bell on this?
Point of personal privilege.
Yes, yes, sir.
Just for the knowledge of the board, I think about last Tuesday, I received a letter, and apparently other commissioners did, relative to a document that was signed by me. It goes back 2 years ago when we had the investigation of what happened around over expenditures. And it was one of a series of documents that we had prepared in response to the investigation that was underway. And somehow one of those documents found their way out of our control. It was signed by me, but it was not dated because we never released it publicly. That document was apparently mailed to commissioners. It had nothing to do with us. We never mailed it. I never mailed it. My attorney never mailed it. It was information that was 2 years old. And I don't know who got the document, and I don't know who mailed the document. I got a copy of it, and other commissioners told me they also received a copy of it. It was about a week and a half ago. I don't know how many commissioners received it. I received a call from 2 or 3 people that had received it. I received one of them, and it was a general envelope. The document was enclosed in it. It was signed but not dated because we did not release the document. So I just want to say that if you did receive it, it did not come from me, my lawyer, or anybody else. It was a strange document to get, but other commissioners have received it. I just wanted to, it basically, there was a series of documents that responded to representations that were made about me and about what we did in that process. Never pursued beyond a certain period. The committee held 80-some-odd% of the meetings in executive session, and then it was resolved and we moved on. But the letter, if you received it, was not, I had no knowledge of it, and just wanted to give that as general information to the board.
Thank you, Commissioner. With that, we've completed the agenda. Meeting adjourned.
Agenda item